What's up, everybody who can hear me? So I don't know if we're going to play anything in the background or not, because I haven't quite decided what I want to do just yet. Looks like got a couple people in here already. What's up, Markale, GX, Gold Luck? How you all doing tonight? Today? This afternoon? Whatever. What's up, Extreme? How's everybody doing? Not too bad, not too bad. As you all know, I don't sleep that often, or at least that well, that long. Last night, I guess it all kind of caught up with me, because last night I fell asleep around 10 p.m., which is probably about, on average, 5 hours earlier than I usually fall asleep. And I didn't get out of bed for 14 hours. I slept for 14 hours, which I guess I needed. So here we are, fully charged. Or at least as charged as I can be. How's everybody else doing today? It was a crazy episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We had a crazy Invincible episode for whoever follows that. We had a pretty interesting week as far as a lot of the shows we've been covering here on the channel. So I'm open to anything you guys want to talk about here today. I feel like I voiced a lot of my opinions on yesterday's episode on the video itself, so I'm pretty open to questions. I think like the big elephant in the room that we can talk about here in a little bit was the cameo, because aside from Julia Dreyfus being in there, I was like, I'm not familiar with that character. Walmart cap making Walmart shield. Yeah, man. Like, I know like having a shield kind of comes with the territory, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Like whatever he makes in his garage it's not gonna hold up. It's just as flimsy and fake as his claim at this point. What's up, Black Raven? Love the name. I have a bias towards Ravens though. Malik, what's up, Malik? Freaking love this episode. Happy to see Batroc back. And I still don't know what the fuck Sharon is or what she's doing, right? Right? I have no idea. Because it sounds like she paid him for that initial run that Falcon stopped in the beginning too, because she's like, oh, I'll pay you double this time. So she's been in this game for a little while. So what is her game? What is she doing? What's her relationship in that situation? Is she the power broker? Is she doing something else? I don't know. Will the metal shield hold up? Hell no. Not against actual vibranium. No. Can't believe they left this hanging with the new suit. Yep. I mean, we still got some people who think it's going to be just a new set of wings. But I think he symbolically left the wings behind when he left those to Torres. I mean, Torres becomes the next Falcon in the comics, so I think that was him dropping the Falcon thing altogether. So for him to just get another set of wings, I don't think that's what that is. I really don't think that's the case. Unless he's got his own cap suit, which just happens to also have wings, which I wouldn't be opposed to. But yeah. So yeah, my big concern here is like, why is Sharon making a deal with a guy whose goal in this moment is to kill and get his vengeance on Sam? When she's friends with Sam, she works with Sam, so I'm curious as to what that play is necessarily. So I got a lot of questions, and they're kind of all hinge around Sharon right now, because also she's is she also working I mean, she's clearly also working with the Flag Smashers. Is she a Flag Smasher? Is she hoping that the Flag Smashers can win in the long run to get her out of this situation with the Power Broker? Or is she the Power Broker? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know right now. I think it can go really either way right now. And like, I know some people are like, well, they keep calling the Power Broker a he. Or I think we don't know that anybody even knows what the Power Broker's face looks like, or that he, whatever is a he. It could be just an assumption that it's a he, because that's just how people's brains work for whatever reason. So who knows? It could very well be her, and the public opinion is that the Power Broker is a dude. But I don't know. I just don't want her to actually have broken bad, man. It just feels weird. It feels out of character. I get she's been surviving for 5 years over there. Well, actually, she hasn't been. She blipped out. She blipped out and she blipped back over there. So it's not even like she's been there forever. So I'm confused by that whole thing. For her to like do a full 180 and go full villain like that. Unless she's just playing with the cards she's dealt right now. I thought they were going to fight Walker for the shield, but I thought it would happen at the fountain site. He ran from the scene of the crime, which, if he was confident in what he did, yeah, running from the scene probably isn't the best look. So, good job there. Viper, who is a mutant, is the real Madam Hydra. Yep. Yeah, because there's been multiple Madam Hydras. So we'll see. This one specifically, I did have to look up because, again, I'm not a huge Marvel comic reader, so I didn't really know this character whatsoever. So I had to look her up. So she's dated Nick Fury. She is a former head of S.H.I.E.L.D. She, along with Sharon Carter, founded the Femme Fatales. She was undercover within Hydra as their current Madam Hydra, while being like a double agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. And then she, after all that time, turns out to be a Russian sleeper agent and has been in prison. And that's the last note, an update from her Marvel Wiki page, is that she is imprisoned for being a Russian sleeper agent since the very beginning. I am Captain America. Yeah, man. Crazy. It would be unsurprising if they called the Power Broker he, and all this time is a misdirection. Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, man. I was just like, I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with the name, so when she popped up, I was just like, Elaine? What are you doing here? I mean, we had the misdirect of he in WandaVision about the contact for the vehicle to get back to Wanda's world, had that been a she. Why wouldn't they misdirect us with Falcon and Winter Soldier? I mean, it might be a little bit of a, doing the same thing too many times, but this kind of makes a little more sense because it's like this shadowy organization. What's up, Cody? I mean, how many people in Madripoor that we know of can even say that they've met the Power Broker and don't just know of the Power Broker because there's like the paintings on the wall that the Power Broker is watching. So like, it's kind of become this mystery figure, big brother figure that's been watching over everybody. There's a leak of a black suited John figure. I mean, I'm not surprised. Because his character in the comics, he wears a black and red suit. Black, red, and white is what he kind of wears in the instead of blue. So it makes sense. Though he was painting the shield in blue, so I'm curious to see what he does there. But we get a post-credit scene in the finale that says Zemo will return in the Thunderbolts. That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty interesting. I mean, they did send him to the raft, which Thunderbolt Ross is in charge of, so it opens the door and leaves that open for that. I think the Power Broker isn't one in the comics because they would have introduced him because they built it up. Yeah, no, it's definitely not the same one as that's in the comics. It's going to be something different. I think it could be Ross, it could be Zola, Sharon Carter, Madam Hydra as a Skrull, or a Skrull could have been could be the power broker. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of it. Again, one thing I think that I like about what the MCU does a lot of the time is even though they're adapting a lot of comic storylines, they are uh like they're doing their own twist in it, where they're making it fit into their own world. So while you can kind of speculate about what direction they might go in, there's always going to be a little bit of a twist to it. What's up, Leonardo? You haven't really missed too much. Not too much. We haven't really talked about a whole lot just yet. So you haven't really missed much. I really like Zemo's character. Me too, man. I actually kind of felt bad for him. At the end of it, he had this weird kind of redemption. And he was also like, he wasn't even putting up a fight there. Like, I think he was ready and maybe even hoping that Bucky was going to be the one that kills him. Because, I mean, he tried to kill himself at the end of Civil War, having failed his family. He wants to join his family, be with his family. So I think even letting him live in the long run is actually worse for him. But he knows he has things to atone for. He had he had a little bit of a character growth in this since his imprisonment. And especially since being with Sam and Bucky, that he's become so flexible on his own ideals that the fact that he wouldn't kill Bucky shows that he himself has evolved to belong his initial, what's the word I'm looking for, mission statement. You know, no supers, no, you know, the anti-Billy Butcher here is what he's kind of become at this point. So he's like willing to accept Bucky as a super soldier that doesn't deserve to die, which what in some ways is the ultimate compliment for Bucky, which is pretty cool. Savitar is the power broker. So the power broker is just a Barry time remnant. I don't understand the Zola train. Just people want Zola to come back. He's a big character in the comics. They got a fun, awesome actor playing him, so why not have him keep coming back? He is like a digital mind at this point, but I don't know. I can live with it. I can take it. It being Ross, I don't think makes sense too much to me. Because I don't know if he'd play this game. But who knows? I could be wrong there. And maybe Sharon's working with him in that way, doing this. I don't know. It just seems a little shady to me for it to be Ross. I think it's a little bit too out of line for what he was doing. Because Ross always kind of struck me as like the Amanda Waller of the Marvel universe. You know, everything he does is an extreme, but for the greater good. But at the same time, I don't think he would do anything to like kind of push things that far. There's still a little bit of a line that he's not willing to cross. And I kind of feel like this might be one of those lines. So I don't know. He is trying to set up his own team. That's why it could be Ross. But, you know, if Sharon recruited him to get him onto U.S. soil so he can be captured and put onto the raft there, that would be one way you could probably tie that in. So there is a possibility, you know, if you start to kind of think about it a little bit. I guess it's just such a dangerous game to play because they're also betting with Sam and Bucky's lives, which isn't something Ross specifically would care about, but it's something I feel like Sharon should. And for her to kind of bet on Sam and Bucky like that while sending somebody who openly his goal is to kill Sam, it just feels dirty, man. What do I like more overall, DC or Marvel? DC. DC, quick and easy. I'm like, what do you think of the dripping water scene when Lamar was tied up? I haven't heard anybody else say this, but based on Lamar and John's conversation about the metals and serum, what had to be done? What had to be done? I mean, I just think he died. I don't know if the water was necessarily symbolic of anything. Maybe it was his life dripping away, or just kind of like to give this sense of a ticking clock element to what's happening because there was like a rhythm to the dripping. What I initially thought was that it was gasoline that was dripping and not water. So I thought he was going to get, you know, Jason Todded and blown up. I didn't think he was just going to get punched in the gut and to death. So yeah, And Batroc definitely, if he comes there and gets his ass kicked, he's going to end up on the raft too, which will also further set up everybody's hope and expectation of a possible Thunderbolts, because he is one of the members of the Thunderbolts, as I was kind of doing some research here before that. Dripping water or the sands of time running out, possibly. That's what I was thinking too. Like eventually the water's going to run out, you know, it drips out, runs out time. It's also the rhythm of the water. Kind of gives you this sense of a clock's hand moving. That's how I read it. Doesn't make it the definitive thing that they were going for, but that's how I thought about it. Do I think Ross will become Red Hulk? I don't know. I don't know, man. They could go that way, but I'm not too sure. I'd like to see it, but I just don't know if they'll do that just yet. I don't know. But I'd like to see somebody become Red Hulk. I think that'd be pretty cool. Is the stream okay? I just got that there was no data being received, but everything looked fine. Let me know if it starts acting up. Most of the time when we stream this early, YouTube just can't handle it right now. What do you think about the hype of the cameo of Julia Louis-Dreyfus? Are fans still willing to go too far with the theories that maybe some series or movies can be let down because of that? I do think people were getting too because that was our big question last week, was who do I think the cameo is going to be? Everybody's like arguing about who the cameo is going to be and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I got to say, like, by the end of the episode, I forgot there was supposed to be a cameo. Like, I didn't even realize she was the cameo. Like, I didn't know who that character was. All I was like, it's Elaine from Seinfeld. that's all I went. That's all that went through my brain when she showed up was that. I was like, okay, that's cool. And I feel like, you know, unless you're deep in Marvel lore and stuff like that, which a lot of people watching the MCU stuff are not. I mean, it's just like, if you're getting yourself set up for like, oh my God, is it going to be Sharon Carter? Is it going to be Black Widow? Is it going to be, who's it going to be? Captain Marvel? I mean, you're just setting yourself up for, every time somebody hears cameo anymore, we expect something huge. And sure, she has bigger implications like Thunderbolts, like the whole Madam Hydra connection, a potential connection to the Skrulls, which is weird, but whatever. It doesn't really, I don't know, it's very minor. It's very, very, very minor. And that's going to, like with WandaVision, disappoint a lot of people because they're just, I guess, so trained by the films and stuff like this and these weird outlandish theories of what they want to happen, that if it doesn't happen and it continues to happen, anytime it gets out about a cameo, I feel like we're going to go through this cycle of this happening. Didn't disappoint in my opinion. Her appearance was definitely enough to bring a smile to my face. Yeah, I mean, it was a nice smile, but it doesn't have the implications that a lot of people want. I feel like a lot of people want these cameos to lead to so much more than what they are meant to be. So it's kind of, I don't know, man. It's really weird. Maybe in She-Hulk he will become Red Hulk. I mean, it's possible. We did have oh shit, what's his name coming back? Abomination's coming back for She-Hulk from the Edward Norton movie. Oh shit. You know, there's also huge news. I haven't made a video about it because I just haven't found the time, but do you guys hear the news about Alfred Molina? Like confirmation from his mouth as far as the role he's playing in Spider-Man No Way Home. Ooh, some good shit, man. I think Black Widow will see Ross starting to assemble his team. I think that'd be cool. I'd like to see it. I'm curious about them expanding on that, by the way. It's pretty cool. Okay, there's no way that in a super soldier fighting New York, Spider-Man doesn't show up. I'm not saying that Spider-Man is going to be in the show, but they need to address why he wasn't there. When would this have been? This is still before Far From Home. Or for all we know, I mean, it could be, depending on how much time has passed from the beginning of this show. He could be on his trip in Europe. It's hard to say. he could be on his field trip, because it's only a few weeks after the blip, or is it months? I know WandaVision was a few weeks. I don't know. I need the timeline laid out before I could give like an explanation, but I think it would be okay. Elevators got us here. So yeah, I'm pretty interested about that. New Wings suit leaked online weeks ago. I don't look at leaks, so I would not like to know that. Yeah, he literally said he's going to be Doc Ock from Spider-Man and no Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Yeah, man, dude, I'm excited for that movie. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Well, Far From Home is eight months after Endgame. Falcon and Soldier 6 months, so they need to explain why he wasn't there. Fair enough. Spider-Man has math homework. Well, it just happened. So they have next episode to explain it, at least. Because this is the first thing to actually happen on US soil in the show. From what I can remember. Bring me Doctor Doom. I can't wait for the MCU's Doctor Doom, man. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. The Young Avengers have set up a lot of members. Yep. Has a lot of members to set up so far. Yeah, they do, man. They're on their way, bud. They're on their way to having it. Spider-Man's cramping for organic chem finals. Yeah, man, he's got to study. He's a kid. Maybe it's happening while he's at school. Maybe they got all the TVs off and he can't hear the news. Who knows? Loki about to be amazing. What's up, Busy? Howdy, bud. How you doing? Dude, like I said before, I was never really all that excited for more Loki. Like, I knew I was going to watch it. I knew I would like it, enjoy it. But the trailer, the last one, got me excited. Now, one thing I've talked about earlier, not talked about on the channel or anything, but was like, you know, when you're kind of thinking about how, you know, with WandaVision, both WandaVision and this show take like a fun concept, but then add this very real, grounded, serious, like, themes to contemplate. It makes me wonder, is Loki going to be the show where we just kind of have fun for a little while, or are they going to use Loki to hit us below the belt with some deep shit too? And what would that be? What would that be? I have thought about some ideas of like identity, the consequences of his actions. There's a lot of different ways you could take with that, but I'm wondering if it's going to have anything serious to think about, or if it's just going to be a fun time travel thing. Any predictions or theories for Invincible? The only theory and prediction I have is that Nolan is there to conquer the planet. Because again, I've not read the comics, so if you have, don't tell me what happens. I think he's there. His race is there for conquering the planet, and that he was hoping that Mark wouldn't have powers so that he wouldn't have to do that for some reason. But I don't really know a lot more than that. And I think that when Mark, his powers awoke, that was like the trigger for him to start making that movements to make that happen. So at that point, Mark's powers show, and you clearly show that Nolan's not happy about it, that he's developed powers. And now and it's only after that realization that he takes out the Guardians. So that's my only real assumption about it. I think eventually Nolan and Mark are going to have to come to blows. And in the end, maybe somehow Mark will have to show up as dad. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, because Mark is a little pissant compared to pretty much everybody right now. I really wish they did the final episode fighting somewhere else, because it doesn't really make sense. There you go, talking about the same thing again. We talked about that already. Well, we got to wait till next episode to see if they even mention it, because I'm sure they'll have like a fleeting line about it in some way, shape, or form. See the poster for What If? I did not. I want a lot of comedy from Loki. If you but a few feels. Maybe we can get Loki back to where he was when he died. It's going to be a long trip, man, because we did erase the Loki that had all of the character development died, and we're reset right back to zero. So we're going to be going right through that again. I'm kind of hoping for maybe like a Ghost of Christmas, like a Christmas story, like a Scrooge tale with this Loki, like because it's the TVA, they have access to his past, present, and future. And like maybe in some way while he's doing all these things helping them, they're like giving him glimpses and pieces of things he does and has done, how those like have affected people, how that reflects back on him, the consequences of the things that he's done, and then his character growth. And maybe we'll have like a little a return to heart moment, like for Scrooge at the end of it. We'll see, man. How many episodes will Invincible have? It's 8 episodes per season. Yep, Kashika has it there. Loki get to see his main timeline counterpart. I mean, possibly. I don't think he'll get to interact with him, but I think he'll at least be exposed to the original timeline and what is different now. Loki will introduce more characters for future movies, perhaps leading characters, but those who will be important. Definitely agree with you there. I think we'll be seeing some fun stuff there. I'm looking forward to seeing Captain America Falcon's suit and how it will look compared to the comics. Let's see. Me too, man. I'm really looking forward to the new suit. Like I said, I think it's a new suit and not necessarily a wings, because a lot of people seem to be thinking it's just a new set of wings. But if he was if he was going to be hanging on to the wing concept, I think it would be the gesture of leaving the wings behind to Torres would kind of fall short on that. Marvel said that people don't have to watch the TV shows to understand the main movie storyline, so they're not going to put anything crazy important in there. I mean, they're still going to put some crazy stuff in there. It's like I said, I mean, they make the movies to where they try their best to make the movies to be, you don't have to watch all these other movies to watch the movies. So it's just like any other MCU movie. But I mean, you won't know about Bucky, Sam, any of that if you don't watch the show. You won't know what happened to Wanda, what happened with Vision if you didn't watch the show. So there are things in the shows that are necessary for moving forward if you want the full picture. So it's kind of a hollow statement in a way. I feel like John Walker is a much more toned down and aggressive version of Loki. He's a bad guy, but you can fully understand his motives. What are your thoughts? I don't think he was a bad guy. I think he got dealt a bad hand, and it exposed all of the worst parts of him. And that led him down a path for downfall, of jealousy, of vengeance, of his redemption in his own eyes. He started off, again, like I've said before, like with the best of intentions, but went about them in the wrong way. He took on and tried to embody the wrong ideals of what it means to be Captain America, and that's one of the reasons that it kind of backfired in his face. While a lot of people across the world and Sam and Bucky didn't acknowledge him as Captain America, he saw it as a title, as a rank, as a position of the military, of his government, and that it's above that, and he never really understood that. So it kind of led him down to his own downfall. From what I've heard, the Viltrumites are similar to Saiyans. That's kind of what I'm gathering. That's kind of what I've gathered from watching the show. That's kind of where my mind was going, because it's like, yeah, they have a lot of similarities to Kryptonians, but that's by design. But it definitely they give me the feeling of, yeah, they're Kryptonians and they're Saiyans in Kryptonian clothing, you know. They're like, instead of sheep wolf stuff, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, what's up Sheena? Hey. Let's not forget the Avengers. Loki was under the influence of the Mind Stone, and that's why he worked for Thanos. He wasn't under the influence of the Mind Stone. He was given the Mind Stone to use in the name of Thanos. He wasn't being manipulated back then. He was working for Thanos for his own gains. What if they set up Kang for the next Ant-Man in Loki? maybe in a post-credit scene because he has a lot to do with time, and which just showed the dealing with. I mean, that's very likely. I think there's a good chance we could at least maybe not, even if we don't see Kang, I think we'll at least like have a mention of him in it. So I think there's a pretty good chance of that. I hope Richard Grant will play an older Loki from another timeline. That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. What's up, Mandy? Hey, Omni. Sorry I'm a little late. I'm listening to Jedi Jive and all new nerds live chat. Hope I didn't miss too much. Not too much right now. I'm doing pretty good. I actually had a 14-hour sleep last night, which is extremely rare. So I'm doing pretty good. I almost stayed in bed for even longer than that. I've been sleep depriving myself for so long, and you know that, especially about how much sleep I've been losing lately. But yeah, I already know what his capsule looks like due to leaks, but I don't want to spoil it. I appreciate that. I'm really excited to see it. So, I mean, it does confirm at least that this capsule. I think that's I think that's all but understood at this point. It's pretty interesting. My headcanon is that he has PTSD, which caused his outbursts and sudden anger, like we got in that second episode when he literally never again. I mean, they talked about it a little bit in the previous episode too, when he's talking with Lamar, because he looks back and is like, he clearly has done terrible things he as a person doesn't believe in, but he did it because it was what his government told him to do, which is what a good soldier does, right? That's what makes a good soldier. You follow your orders, whatever the consequences to yourself or those around you. And that's what he did. He was the idyllic, perfect soldier. But the difference between him and Steve was never really a soldier. He was a good man first, before everything. And again, I think that that doesn't mean like the people who become good soldiers are by default not good men. There are plenty out there. There's just a lot of ways that one of those two can't survive the other when you're doing some things like that. Naturally, you have to forget one of those to do your job. Because if you go in there with the whole good man approach, you're going to have to do things that's going to turn you into a bad man. I mean, it's just what happens. It's the nature of war. It's what comes out of it. So it's, I think by nature and by design, makes it impossible for somebody who's a soldier first to be Captain America. I don't know. Maybe I'm going the wrong direction with that. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's definitely very difficult to balance those two. And he clearly had issues with it. Because when he talked about with Lamar, like you can tell he has a lot of guilt for what they've done. And he has a lot of tics. He also has a lot of anger issues. Because, I mean, even if you go back to the scene where him and Lamar are both introduced, Lamar has that little thing. He was like, this suit comes with expectations. You can't just go you can't go punching through these problems, which kind of hints that that's usually John Walker's go-to approach is fight, to push through, to punch through his problems. And without Lamar around, he doesn't have an anchor. It seems like maybe Lamar has always been his anchor, and that's something I've said before. I think it's pretty interesting to see that develop. But then again, what is it to have a Captain America that needs somebody else to anchor him? Steve didn't need that. Sam doesn't need that. Sam's anchoring himself. Sam is anchoring Bucky right now. Sam is an anchor, and he's the one that's got the shield. So it's a lot of, there's a lot of complexities that go around into it. And I don't think John was a bad man or started off as a bad man, but he just took a misstep or had a misunderstanding of what it meant to be Captain America, approached it the wrong way and let it get to him. And it was the perfect storm to cause his downfall. Last week in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we got a Kill Bill reference. This week we got a Pulp Fiction reference. Yes, we did. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, what's in the case? I was like, the only thing this is missing is a gold glow coming out of that case and splashing onto Sam's face. Also, Kang is a big enemy of the TVA. I mean, that'd make sense for him to show up or at least be mentioned in there. Maybe they're hunting him down or looking for him or something like that. I don't know. Definitely a good point. Do you think Valentina will form the Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts instead of Ross? I mean, it's possible. I don't know, man. I don't want to see the Thunderbolts without Ross though, because I mean, it's got to be Thunderbolt Ross, right? He's the inspiration of the name, the Thunderbolts. So I don't know. I don't know. They're definitely going to be setting up one of the two though. Honestly, I would prefer to go with Thunderbolts because, again, Dark Avengers, while I like the concept of it, just having your own evil team like the Legion of Doom or Injustice League, I'm not a fan of the name, the Dark Avengers, because it's just like, we're the bad Avengers. Rawr. It's just edgy. So one of the reasons I don't like the Injustice League as a name. That's why I prefer the Legion of Doom. But yeah, I mean, names aside, I would like to see, I could go either way with that. I'd like to see her, maybe her and Ross have their own competing organizations. Because, like I said, I don't want her to create the Thunderbolts, because that should be a Ross maneuver. But if she creates her Dark Avengers, and then he creates the Thunderbolts, and you kind of have like this competition between them, I think that'd be pretty cool. So thinking back to WandaVision, I thought maybe some government oversight is needed, but this show has given us more reasons to distrust them. Yeah, especially in that room when we're seeing the insides. Because what happened in Walker wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Sure, he did some bad stuff, but it's also their responsibility too. The people that passed that judgment on him, they're not taking any blame for what he had been instructed to do. They just cut him free. They punished him and him only and took no repercussions of their own actions. And then we see the other flip side of that before they're starting to go live, how they're talking about their vote all dirty. We got to think about how this is going to be perceived. We got to talk about the optics. We got to talk about how this is going to make us look whenever we make this decision. Do we even really need to vote? We kind of already know where we all stand, but we got to put on a show for the public. And it's just very, very beautiful. Beautifully gross way of how politics work, really, and shining a light on it. I love your videos. What's your most anticipated? Jesus, my most anticipated Marvel project right now, I'm going to say Spider-Man 3, No Way Home. As much as I'm really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness, which I think is right there under it, I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel superhero, so I'm really excited for that. So I'm down for that. We got Alfred Molina coming back from the Sam Raimi universe. Confirmed that he is that version of the character. I'm down for that shit, man. 98.3% sure it's confirmed that the Mind Stone was the reason Loki. Yep, you're incorrect. I will bet you on that 1.7% that is not the reason Loki did what he did. I mean, him wanting the stone, but it was for his own reasons. He wasn't being manipulated by it. He was using it to control everybody else. He made a deal with Thanos. The moment when Walker ripped off Sam's wings, I wonder if he wondered. I wish I had a Red Bull. It gives you wings. And that's another thing. We knew Walker had snapped the moment when he was about to kill Sam. He was about to do exactly what he did to Nico in the street, in public, to Sam, who just wants the shield from him. Is just trying to stop him, and he's just raining down thunder and vengeance on everybody. What do you think the post-credits scene of episode 6 will be? I imagine it's going to have something to do with Valentina, or I think we might see Ross. And I'm willing to, I'm not willing to bet, but I would imagine that it would be like somebody setting up their Dark Avengers team, whether it's the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. I think it's going to be a tease that there's going to be anti or a secondary group introduced into the world, and we'll be starting to see that being developed. I'm wondering when the next big comic threat will be introduced into the MCU, like Galactus. I imagine we won't probably hear about Galactus until the Fantastic Four movie comes out. We might get some name drops here and there, maybe in the Eternals of Galactus, but I think he's going to be the next big threat. I think that's going to be the next big thing. Don't quote me on it, but that's where my money's at least. Falcon, Winter Soldier, fight or flight. Madam Hydra may be setting up Kingdom Hydra. Remember, her allegiances were not to Hydra. While she was Madam Hydra, she was not allied with Hydra. She was a double agent. So I don't know if she's recruiting for... I would imagine she's still recruiting for her own means and not Hydra's. She might not even go by Madam Hydra at this. She may have, that may be like a past of hers at this point, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes, because she was always more of like a Nick Fury type character from what I've been reading. Not like I'm an expert. I haven't read these comics myself, so I've just been researching the characters, because I have never heard of her before this episode. He saw it just as being a soldier and not about who is Captain America and what does he stand for really. Exactly. I think Ross and Madam Hydra are probably working together. Hey, hun, coming out of your box with your cats. Thank you for stopping in. Maybe Madam Hydra will kidnap Joaquin and test on him, and he will become a literal Falcon. I don't think they'll go that far. But I wonder if they will actually turn him into the humanoid Falcon in the MCU, or if they will just kind of have him take up, you know, Sam's side of things, like with the mechanical wings. Winter Soldier, he was a cold killer, but now, since he has lost that name, he is not as brutal or badass. So notice I don't have any chill tunes playing. Why isn't this? Hold on. Whatever. That's not working right now for whatever reason. Oh, duh. It'd help if it wasn't muted. Let's see. So the Power Broker, is it Jerry Seinfeld? It definitely well could be. Do you think Rhodey will return in the finale? Probably. I would imagine so. We gotta do a loop back to that conversation from the beginning. That's the Winter Soldier. It seems like that movie they nerfed him. Since that movie, they've nerfed him. I mean, maybe. He might also have nerfed himself, because he's not just a mindless robot anymore. He's not a mindless drone. He's inhibited by emotions, by guilt, by his own restrictions. He's also going to be holding himself back from harming people, where as the Winter Soldier, he didn't really have any of those concerns. So it's kind of like a mental limiter that he's doing to himself. Imagine Galactus facing off against the new Avengers and Fantastic Four and the X-Men. I can't wait for that to happen. I think that's going to be pretty sweet, pretty awesome. As long as they don't make him a giant gas cloud, which I don't think the MCU would do, I'm down for it. The script was leaked and I read it. No Galactus name drop, but it might have changed. But it is confirmed that Harry Styles is Star Fox of the Eternals. I don't know who that is. So when you say that, I'm just like, he's playing Fox McCloud? Furries in the MCU, let's do it. I'm kidding. Star Fox, man. I'm sorry, I just can't get an R-wing out of my head there. Like I said, I'm more of a DC guy, So a lot of these names are going to go over my head until I learn it. Until I learn it. Do you think the name U.S. Agent is going to be said in this show? Probably not. I don't think so. It might be. It's almost as if you're a U.S. agent or an agent of the U.S. They'll do something really kind of corny with it, I imagine. Justice League was fighting injustice they saw in the world, hence the name. That's if you're talking about the version from the opposite of the JSA. There is just the Injustice League, which is just the group against the Justice League. Like I said, it's just because then you have the Injustice, because it's the Injustice Society of America, not the Injustice League. And the JSA stuff too. Have you seen that Disney said that they're thinking of doing a Wolverine anthology series? I saw the rumor that that's a thing. I haven't seen anything actually said with any weight about this Wolverine stuff. That's why I've just avoided talking about it, because until it's a little more tangible, I'm not going to kind of get my hopes up or talk about something that's not something we know we're going to get. Sharon Carter betrayed Falcon. See, that's where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it right now. Jesse Eisenberg can kind of act. John Cena can kind of act. Pete Davidson can kind of act. Horrible casting choices. I like John Cena. I like John Cena as an actor. I like Jesse Eisenberg as an actor, but he's one of those actors that is very good for a specific kind of character. Pete Davidson, I have no idea. I've never seen a movie with him in there. I don't know who that is. Did you notice the Iron Man parallels with John Walker? Post-credit scene. Yeah, I did. On top of that, you had like some just strong Civil War parallels with him in the cave, the whole Iron Man cave thing with him beating away at the hammer, the sound of the hammer. That was the first thing my mind went to. And man, I was watching the Rejects reaction to that episode, and I just love how Greg called out he made it in a cave with a box of scraps. I was like, nah, I can't get that out of my head now. But then you have the Cap parallel where he's doing the bad thing, and he was about to drop that shield on 2 people in the same day. Sorry. Star Fox is Thanos' brother. We are not through Thanos. What? Oh, we are not through with Thanos. Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of his origins, I thought, in the Eternals too. Like a background on Thanos as well. Then again, I cringed at Heath Ledger. Me too, man. And it's from that day that Heath Ledger proved me wrong, that I will never judge a casting until I see the final product. So I thought that shit was dumb. I was not on board for that. I was like, how can this prissy, what was that movie he was in? The shit. What was it? The Prince thing. I don't remember. A Knight's Tale. That was it. Funny enough, has Paul Bettany in it. A Knight's Tale. This Knight's Tale motherfucker is going to play the Joker. Bullshit. Get out of here. And, yeah. I ate my words after that first trailer came out. Fucker scared the shit out of me. Harry Styles is a pops. I'm slurring everything right now. It's the wine, man. I think the name U.S. Agent won't be said in the MCU, at least not for a long time, but maybe I'm wrong. It feels like one of those things where I don't know. You gotta feel like there's gotta be like a natural way to call it out in the show. And I'm just not sure that they will label him as that, but we'll get like one of those, like, it's almost like your blah, 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 blah kind of thing. Like where, what are you, some kind of Iron Man? Why, yes. Yes, I am. This is chaos magic, John. And that makes you the U.S. agent. There's been legends of You, John, you are more powerful than the America of Captain. You are the agent of US. Which character are you most interested in seeing in Stargirl Season 2? For me, it's Shade. Shade is cool, but from the moment they announced John Wesley Shipp is coming back as the Flash, it's definitely the Flash. And I'm not... I don't want to spoil too much, but I saw some stuff, thanks to Paigey, on Twitter about an upcoming Flash episode that might have another couple people returning, which might also mean that we're opening up the multiverse a lot sooner than I thought we were going to. So I'm excited for that, man. I'm really excited for that. Will you do a review for the Ghost of Tsushima film? And I heard we are getting a God of War 1 remake. Oh yeah, man. I will 100% watch Ghost of Tsushima, man. That was my favorite game of that year. When that game came out, that was my favorite game all year. Ghost of Tsushima, man. I fucking love that game. And it would be a crime against humanity for them not to hire and cast the voice actor that plays him, because they modeled the character in the game after the voice actor. Get him. Get him. Anyway, I can't wait for that though. I fucking love that game. Hey, they're actually watching from the hospital. COVID treatment. Oh no, Renee. I hope you get better. Oh gosh. Thoughts to Renee? Hairy voice. You knew this was coming, Pete. You shall be named the U.S. agent. I know it'll be early, but do you think Russell could get some award consideration for his role? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it might be too early, but it's just, he's doing such a good job playing this character. And it's just, a lot of these superhero shows go unacknowledged and unrewarded for a lot of their performances. And I really think he's got one of the top ones yet. I still have not seen Shin Godzilla Mercenary. It is on my list. It's literally the only Godzilla movie I have not seen yet. And I know it's a sin. Have I seen any of the other Marvel shows like Jessica Jones? I've seen all of the Netflix Marvel shows. I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after season 3. I've never watched Legion. I've never watched Cloak and Dagger. I haven't watched any of those other shows. So as far as the Marvel shows that I have seen, it's just been what's been on Disney Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, and the only thing not on those two that I have tried to watch was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like I said, I got to season 3 and I just got bored and stopped watching it. Imagine how much crazier John will be if he served in Nam. Oh God, man, he'd be a much more broken man. I would have to imagine. Not to put light on, you know, any of the fighting that's been done in Afghanistan and all that, but like, there's some fucked up shit that happened in Nam on every side of it. Witnessed, like, and the fact that you're stuck in that situation, knowing it's a lost cause. It's just, yeah, I almost want to say Sarah Jessica Parker. Jessica Parker Kennedy is reportedly in Vancouver along with Jordan Fisher and John Wesley Shipp. What do you think? I was not going to call it out completely, but yeah, we're coming up on another anniversary episode of The Flash, and I think we're gonna see some fun stuff. Because we already know Bart Allen's coming, which they're changing his origin. They're making him his grandson instead of his great grandson. So they're changing it a little bit, his character, but it's whatever, man. I'm down for it. Yeah, I did leave Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before I saw Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider almost got me to come back, and then the fact that that whole line got disregarded by the MCU, I just stopped kind of caring about it. Wonder how Grogu is doing right now, man. Me too. Me too. The Punisher was by far my favorite on Netflix. I'm not listening to anything at the moment, so I'm just going to take this off because it's making my neck sweaty. Get out. Get. I always end up with this wrapped around my chair somehow. So, when it comes to the Netflix shows, my favorite easily was Daredevil. If we're talking about overall show, like all three all the seasons combined, performances, actors, storylines, stuff like that, Daredevil was my number one. Punisher had, I think, the best first season. I think. It was gripping, it was emotional, it was action-packed, and it was brutal. I really loved it. John Bernthal was fantastic. I forget the guy that played, I forget the actor that actually plays Jigsaw in there. Billy, fantastic in that. The whole, like, unwinding of the conspiracy, perfect. I thought season 2 was a mess. I thought season 2 of that show, jumping off of season 1, was a mess. Jessica Jones never topped its first season. I until Punisher, Jessica Jones was actually my favorite season 1 of all of the shows. And that was purely because I love David Tennant, and seeing David Tennant being this twisted, evil, filthy guy as the purple man was just fucking brilliant. And that whole, like, survivor's guilt, that whole PTSD trip with Kristen Ritter, man, it was just really, really good. Again, season 2 did not live up to that. Season 3 did not live up to that either. It was just kind of like a constant downhill. Luke Cage, I really liked season 1. I really liked season 2. And I feel like they're so equal with each other that I can't really put one over the other. It was just a good show. Like, it didn't wow me, but it definitely was good. Iron Fist, I think everybody knows how we feel with this one. The first season was a mess. It was just not good. I enjoyed the characters, the actors and stuff, but the writing, the fights were just straight garbage. For a show about martial artists and somebody that's supposed to be the peak martial artist of the MCU or whatever, or of the Marvel Universe, yeah, it definitely under-delivered so epically much that it was painful. And kind of hearing the behind the scenes of how that happened and why that happened, it's just a joke that they even thought that would be a good idea. Like, if you haven't heard them talk about leading into season 1, I recommend looking into it, because it's fucking terrible. Season 2, though, I thought was okay. It was definitely leagues better than the first season. And I was excited to actually see where it was going to go from there. I actually really liked the Defenders season 2, seeing them all team up. I thought it was really cool. Again, they kind of got treated just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. while they tried to continue to reference the MCU, since they weren't sure if they were still canon together or not. They still tried. But again, they got left behind and forgotten by Kevin Feige in the end. Whew. Let's see. I love Ray Stevenson's Punisher. I kept hoping that I would bring him into the MCU and do a classic Punisher Spidey Wolverine crossover. That'd be cool. It wasn't even Johnny Blaze. Give me Johnny or give me death. And that's another reason I didn't really care. It wasn't Johnny Blaze. I usually have a strong bias towards the first iteration of any character. The few exceptions to that for me are Green Lantern, where I actually prefer Jon Stewart over Hal Jordan. That's kind of it, to be honest, that I could think of right now. Oh yeah, Daredevil's fantastic. John gave his life to the military, and his brother did as well in Vietnam, which is the main reason why he joined. And since John definitely has PTSD, even if he had a therapist, they would have told him. Do you? They would have told him, yeah. Did you interested in Young Justice? I am up to date on Young Justice. I was not a huge fan of season 3. I will be honest. I liked some bits of it, but I wasn't overall that impressed with season 3. John has his reasons why he became this. To quote Full Metal Jacket, the military does not want robots. They want killing machines. That's accurate. David Tennant. Hell yeah. Give him some love. He can be my doctor any day. Isaiah Bradley, stronger than Cap Steve because he ripped off Winter Soldier's metal arm before. I don't know if that's not to like compete that or anything, but I don't think that necessarily signifies one way or the other. Because you have to also remember, Isaiah Bradley has no emotional attachment to Bucky. So when it comes to fight or flight, he's going to fuck him up. And he did. Steve, however, he's got an emotional attachment to Bucky. It's his best friend. He's always on the defensive when he's fighting Bucky. So you'd have to imagine he's also holding back in a lot of those times too. Wonder who will play Thawne in Ahsoka. I don't know, man. I know a lot of people have been hoping for Benedict Cumberbatch, but he said, I'm not doing that. He said straight up, no, he's not going to do that. So they haven't asked him, so he says, but he said if they did, he would decline. It's not something he wants to do in his life right now. So it's pretty interesting, man, to just come out and shut it down like that. At least we can all agree that Iron Fist is not good. Agreed. So as far, what do you enjoy more? WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I don't know. It really depends on my news. I was reading that new comment that popped in, so I ended up combining that in my head. It really depends on my mood, I would say. Because right now, I am really, really, really loving Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even though I wasn't all that excited for it in the beginning. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of action. It's been really thought-provoking. But I think it's those serious moments in it, those serious real-world consequence moments and reflections on our world that kind of give me a little pause. So I think if I'm just wanting, like I said, it depends on my mood, so it depends on what I'm in the mood for. WandaVision, though, I like the whole thing with it, the fantastic stuff of it, the magic, the fun, goofy meta comedy, the sitcom element of it. Yeah, it's wrapped and thick in grief, depression, and dealing with that, and those horrors of a tragic life like that. But it's separated by this wall of reality a little bit that allows me to enjoy the show a lot more. It's very goofy, it's very lighthearted comparatively. So it depends on what I'm in the mood for. I think as an overall show, I'm probably actually going to change my tune and go with Falcon and the Winter Soldier right now. Again, it might just be because I'm seeing this. But then again, we got to think back. Does Falcon and Winter Soldier have Darcy in a ringleader outfit, a ringmaster outfit just yet? Does it have Elizabeth Olsen in her outfit, her full Scarlet Witch outfit? Those are some winning points. Anyway, but we did get that awesome, sexy training montage with good old Anthony Mackie, which was pretty cool. So I don't know. I'm really dancing around that because, like I said, it's just going to be playing into my mood. Out of what do I enjoy more? On the week to week, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it's giving me more. WandaVision was very short nugget episodes week to week. So WandaVision kind of broke it up into this way that makes you appreciate it a lot more in the whole. So I think I have to give it to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Also, I didn't call it out in the reaction because I didn't want to call out Anthony Mackie, but there's so many shots in that montage that's not Anthony Mackie that it is embarrassingly and it's hilariously noticeable. Hey, I like that outfit. Plus, we got the Zemo cut out of Falcon and Winter Soldier, man. John became super strong as Super Soldier, and he fought Flag Smasher, Sam, and Bucky. Yep. Have you heard the news regarding Dominic Perel? Yeah, somebody shared that in my Discord. Which, guys, I have a Discord if you want to join. Hang out, chat about shit. Yeah, somebody shared that, and honestly, while I'm surprised, I'm not surprised that he's leaving. I'm surprised to hear about the why. And the why that no matter how much money they throw at him, he's still going to say no. Which makes me just wonder how fucking terrible are these CW productions that you have stuff like this happening. And there was this rumor, this thing put out, I can't remember where I saw it, talking about how much money that the CW and Warner Brothers are wanting to give Grant Gustin to stay on The Flash, and that there's also going to be a potential for CW-based films, like with, like, let's say like a Flash with Grant Gustin film to come. Which makes me wonder what's happening. And what's going to happen with it, man. I don't know. Song in the background, yo. Yeah, I got Spotify on. But it is a copyright free track, so we should be safe. Monica, Jimmy, Darcy, or Bucky, Sam, Zemo. That's just mean. All right. Fuck. I'm gonna have to go Jimmy and Darcy just because they will make me laugh, and Darcy's in that outfit for a good chunk of that. What's up, Jordan? First time on the live stream. Welcome. I'm not always drinking wine and slurring my words, but this is a special day where I had 14 hours of sleep when I usually get 4 or 5. So we're going to celebrate a little bit. It was Fury who hired Batroc and Captain America Winter Soldier, so it's interesting that Sharon is using him again now. You think we can trust her? I hope we can, because it'd be a weird 180. They'd really need to explain why she's hiring a killer that she knows is going after to kill Sam. So it's pretty question. Name of the song. Oh, I don't know what name it was, but if you want the link to the track, here's the playlist. It's from Alpha Gaming's Stream Beats, if you follow Alpha at all. Harris Heller. Discord link should actually be in the description of the live stream. Along with all my socials, so if you guys are not following me on those socials, which is a sin, I might add, you should do so. Oh, that's an old video, so that's why it's not there. Where's my last one? All right, hold up. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna make this easier for everybody and myself. Where you at? There you are. Because I've had some misuse of the link, so I've had to change it. I basically cried in Zemo's scene in episode 5. It was so intense and emotional. The scene with him and Bucky at the memorial. What's up, Gore? We got the movie god in here, guys. Weep, weep. Zemo dancing makes me laugh way more than anything Darcy did. Jimmy made me laugh. Let's be fair. Jimmy made me laugh. Darcy gave me other feelings. But only in that outfit. Walker is a fantastic villain, but I love Zemo so much. In this movie, the show does something that I think that was really interesting at humanizing Zemo even further. Like, he was on a revenge quest before, and an idealistic quest to exterminate superhumans because they're wreaking havoc on the planet, which is funny because that planet would be fucking destroyed without them. Think about that logic, though. Let's wrap that back. Like, if Zemo lived in a world where... I'm about to deconstruct Zemo's logic right now. He's like, superhumans are the death of humanity. I was like, bitch, listen to me right now. If none of these people existed, Thanos would have just came here and wiped everybody out. You'd be dead. Your family would have been dead. He would be dead. They'd all be dead. Without these people, they would all be dead. Time and time again, over dead. It was honestly a surprise to me. In the trailer, it never came into my mind that after Civil War, he was still alive, just in prison. Now that mine of the villains that didn't die are just in jail. Exactly, man. Exactly. Now, you mentioned before, but I really wouldn't have pegged you for a wine drinker. So red or white? White. Between the two, definitely white. Steve's mom is named Sarah. Bucky just loves women with the name Sarah. Yeah, I saw that too after the fact. I kind of made that connection too. I was like, huh. Is there something going on there? Something going on? Why'd you say that name? I've seen rumors of Cursed movie getting a sequel. The Assassin's Creed movie. I actually never watched it, to be honest. Had Michael Fassbender in it, and like I own most of the games, but I have only ever finished the first Assassin's Creed game. When they announced the movie, I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll check it out. It's got Michael Fassbender in it. I'll check it out. Never did. And then I heard about the movie. I was like, all right, I'm not watching it. So I've never watched it. So I don't know how bad it gets, but I've heard a lot of things that I know would annoy the shit out of me if I watched it. And it will follow Ezio. Why does the world keep bringing monsters back? So they're just going to like give up and like follow Ezio, make a movie about it? I don't know, man. Since that movie's come out, there has been some decent video game adaptations made in film. So maybe the second time around might be better. We'll see. When Steve destroyed the punching in Avengers, how come Loki withstood that punch, bruh? What? When Steve destroyed the punching in Avengers, how come Loki withstood that punch? I need you to reword that because I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, Game Challenger. I heard a Falcon is having a team up with Daywalker Blade. That'd be cool. That would be cool. I'm looking forward to that, man. I really like Blade as a character. I'm a little biased towards, of course, shit. Why can't I'm biased towards this and I can't remember the guy's name at the moment. Wow. This is embarrassing. I shouldn't have to look this up. Oh, movie. No. Wesley Snipes. Ah, got it before I looked it up. Nope, not looking at Wesley Snipes. I was like, tax evasion. What was it? Yeah, man, I got a huge bias towards Wesley Snipes, even though There's some interesting stories about him in later Blade films that are pretty hilarious. Loving the live chat with Omni drinking. Shut up. I had like this much of the bottle left, and I was like, I could probably just fit this in one glass. Because I don't like, because like what was left was not enough for another glass. So I was like, I will fit this all in this glass and we will not waste it. AC movie was hot garbage. Agreed. More wine streams. Just saying. This means I need to buy more wine. Zemo cut took Marvel 2 days and DC 5 years. Let's be fair. The Zemo cut was like 3 different shots on loop for an hour. Not really the same thing. And if I have to choose between the two, I have to Snyder cut it, man. It's just by principle, by joke, for the meme, I will do it for, I would say Zemo cut. But if I'm talking from my heart and soul, it's Snyder cut. It's always Snyder cut. Hear me out. Dominic Purcell as Rhino in the MCU. I would love that. I would actually really like that. Do Rockstars just put out episode 5 breakdown? Just letting you know. All right, guys. Okay, we haven't done this before. Hold up. I want to see if there's anything I want to call out here real quick, because what we're going to do, and we don't do this. We actually haven't done this before. I've wanted to do it before, but and I know this isn't going to get the views that it normally would if I posted this separately. Let's just live react to the new Rockstars breakdown. Can we do that? How's that work? Is it out? I don't even see it. It's not out. What are you talking about? It's not out yet. You lied to me. Who said that actually? New Rockstars just put out episode 5 breakdown, just letting you know. It was Marcos Pant. I don't see it. Tax evasion snipes is his new name. Though, another thing that kind of disappoints me about Mahershala Ali, while I love him as a choice, it just kind of also steps on the Netflix stuff too, because he was in there as Cottonmouth. So unless they multiverse explain this shit away, you kind of can't play both characters in the same universe without some twisting around. Yeah, they put it up. Why is it not here? I've refreshed it. I don't see it. It's not on their page.
Welcome.
Okay. I found it on my timeline. Fuck you. Like has those wine goggles. Shut up. For whatever reason, I was on their page refreshing it, and it's still not there for me. But if I go to my subscriptions, it's there. The fuck's that about, YouTube? All right. I'm gonna have to gauge this because I'm not sure how loud this is going to be. So we're gonna just go ahead. We'll pull it up. We'll switch it over to the game stream. Set up here. Nope. Primary monitor. Zaboom. All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier Episode 5, Truth, in which Julia Louis-Dreyfus leaves John Walker more dumbstruck than a shield to the face.
Peace, Mort. Gore, thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate the comments.
That you might have missed
have
in this
fun.
episode. So we open on John Walker mid-sprint, just like how Captain America the Winter Soldier opens for Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers in the middle of their runs. Except this Cap is running from his problems, not interested in making friends.
Yeah, man. Worst thing he could have done was like run from the scene. He was, like I said, if he was confident in what he did and his actions,
Composer
he would've
Henry
stayed.
Jackman recalls his music from Captain America Civil War. You also hear this leitmotif later. This whole fight mirrors that 2-on-1 fight that ended that film, in which Bucky teams up to take down a rival who is filled with rage over a dead loved one. Now, Sam's focus goes to the blood.
Except
still on
this
the
time,
shield.
his cap is Sam.
John.
Yeah, notice
Hell
the
yeah.
vibranium hums. A sound effect they often do with the shield to indicate its kind of weird mystical qualities, but here it's boosted up as if Steve's spirit is dismayed at these stains. Now, Bucky tries to calm John.
Don't go down that road. Believe me, it doesn't end well.
I'm not like you.
Yeah, notice how Bucky just takes this in, biting his tongue, letting the other two talk for a bit, and he only speaks up once more in the last line spoken right before punches are thrown.
You don't want to do this.
Bucky never takes his eyes off the shield until
we gotta
that
break down
moment.
this fight move by move because everything is amazing in it. Early on, Bucky grapples with
Doing a
Walker and
fight
goes for
breakdown?
his gun, smartly disarming him as soon as possible, and he knocks that gun loose.
Oh,
but in response,
I
Walker
didn't actually
in
catch
slow
that.
motion raises the shield to bring it down on Bucky's head, just like he did to Nico. So we're freaking out, but Sam jumps in to save Bucky.
I'm gonna have
and that
shield
scary
PTSD.
moment happens again at the end of the battle when Walker brings that shield down on Sam this time until Bucky returns the favor. I love the way Sam uses his wings in this fight. First
Yeah,
using
man.
one to slap that shield out of Walker's left hand before he catches it with his right, and then later Sam backspins on his wings to trip Walker.
That
And
was
when
one of
Walker
my
throws the
favorite
shield at
moves in that
Bucky, knocks
fight.
him off his feet, Bucky catches the shield and briefly wields it. If you think about it, every time on the series when John Walker flings something at Bucky, Bucky always catches it. Walker
Yeah,
throws
he-
Bucky, smashes
just
his
keeps throwing
vibranium
shit
arm,
at
causing him
Bucky
to
like
glitch
that.
briefly, though it appears to recover shortly after. Sam tries to tether the shield, similar to how Peter Parker webbed the shield in Civil War out of Cap's hands, but it doesn't work. Walker pins him, rips off his wings, and they restrain Walker to try to pull the shield off his arm, similar to
Thanos
the Avengers
moments.
dogpiling on Thanos
Yeah.
to remove the Infinity Gauntlet, until inevitably, using the force of Sam's jetpack, they freaking break his arm.
Oh,
If you think about it though, Steve Rogers' arm was also broken as he fought Thanos in Endgame. Remember there was that close-up where he tightened the shield strap as a tourniquet. So in that way, Steve fused the shield with himself to make himself whole, whereas Walker breaks himself over his attachment to that shield. I mean, throughout the MCU, one of the best things about this shield is the way it's been used in collabs. And here is another collab for those books. Now, Bucky drops the shield for Sam, another mirror of the way Cap dropped the shield for Tony in Civil War. And as he does this, he is bathed in these beams of sunlight, almost as if getting Steve's blessing to return his spiritual symbol to its rightful place.
Are we gonna
Right
find
on that
out
drop, a little glimmer
if
of
he's
light
dead?
reflects off the shield.
like
And
they
as
act
Bucky
like
walks
Steve
off,
is
listen again to the music.
dead.
Yeah, the composer is bringing back the end of the line music that he composed for Captain America Winter Soldier. That was the moment when Cap dropped the shield to show his friendship to Bucky.
I'm not gonna fight you. You're my friend.
Later on, Torres tells Bucky
Hey, you got your sleeve back.
he's calling back Bucky, tearing off his sleeve before that dumb jump out of the plane in episode 2. And Sam tells Torres to take these broken wings.
Wait, yo, you forgot the wings.
Keep 'em.
Yes, Joaquin Torres does become a version of the Falcon in the comics when Sam becomes Captain America. So we could be looking at the origin for New Falcon. I mean, Sam's line here does feel a bit like Tony's moment with that pre-recast Rhodey in Iron Man.
Next time, baby.
More like next time,
Boom.
boom, you're looking for this. Walker goes on trial before a council. You can see the flags for the US
Maybe he
Army, US
died
Navy,
later
Air
that
Force,
day,
Coast Guard. So I assume this is
after
some
passing the
combination
shield
between
on. Maybe he
Chiefs,
chose
maybe
that
with the
moment.
Chairman of the Senate Armed Forces Committee, because he's a senator, they're military people. Maybe this is a government body representing the US delegation to the GRC. Look, it's post-blip. Who knows how government works? Then Walker goes, Kavanaugh.
I lived my life by your mandates. I dedicated my life to your mandate.
And then a very cold...
Oh, so
built
good.
me.
Yeah, through Walker's rage, we are given a clearer reference point for Isaiah Bradley, who was another super soldier who was just following orders, but in his case, he was not allowed to walk free. So what does John Walker have to complain about? Then Walker is approached by Cameo Alert!
Little cameo.
Seinfeld and Veep star, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. So you can just call me Val. But don't call me Val. Just keep it in your head.
Yes, Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is a longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in the Marvel Comics, often associated with Nick Fury. She goes by Agent 14, and at another point, Madam Hydra, when she joins Hydra, but that was really a short-lived mission when she was actually part of the Leviathan, and she was betraying Hydra, undermining them. Folks, de Fontaine is a lesser-known figure, and a lot of folks right now are jumping on her being Madam Hydra, confirmed! But that arc was really just a small part of her run. Like, she plays a big role in Secret Invasion, replaced by a Skrull who really kicks off Nick Fury's initial suspicions. She works on a FemForce team with Sharon Carter. You could jump to the conclusion that she is the power broker the show has been hinting at, though I think it would be a bit weird to introduce this big cameo right now, but then wait to doubly confirm her as the power broker, a character who is referred to with male pronouns. I mean, she may just represent whatever faction of Hydra is left after they were hunted down and routed. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus seems to be playing it with the same kind of wry humor that Gary Shandling played Hydra-loyal Senator Stern.
I would have killed the bastard too. I mean, you would have been doing him a favor if you'd taken out the whole lot.
Yeah, de Fontaine sounds like she's part of some shadowy government agency, one without oversight, without a public face, which, yeah, sounds a lot like what Nick Fury initially was doing with S.H.I.E.L.D. And Hydra did corrupt S.H.I.E.L.D., so it is plausible that she could be heading up a secret division of Hydra that's still active somewhere, perpetuated by Zola's algorithm.
There we go.
Which could mean empty and my Zola handcar could still arrive at the station. But I don't know, it seems like Marvel just pulled a long-time, lesser-known comics operative and plans to do something entirely new with her. So it's not about her history, it's about the plan.
You did the right thing. Taking the serum. Yeah, of course I know about that. It has made you very, very valuable to certain people.
Which certain people? Well, notice that indigo streak in her hair. I think de Fontaine could be at least partly inspired by high-ranking S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Victoria Hand, in the comics, deputy director of the Thunderbolts Initiative during the Dark Reign. Now,
there you
Victoria
go, guys.
Hand already appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which Kevin Feige has been kind of indicating.
Yeah, we know that's
really
not
MCU
real.
canon, but since we already saw that character in a Marvel TV show, maybe they're pulling a different female S.H.I.E.L.D. operative from Marvel Comics. Either way, it's not just the hair. It's the fact that she values Walker because he took the serum, and she knows government secrets, and the Dora Milaje are taking Zemo to the Raft prison. Remember that? That was a facility from Captain America Civil War, overseen by Thaddeus Ross, whose name appears in the end credits of the show associated with the Enhanced Humans Act. And we know from the first Hulk film that Ross was deeply interested in rebooting the Super Soldier program. De Fontaine would work for Ross, recruiting super anti-heroes on a team named after Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, the Thunderbolts, the anti-hero team in the comics initially headed up by Zemo. I just won't be surprised if this season ends with Zemo on the raft, maybe John Walker in the cell next to him, as de Fontaine strolls past them, offering them a chance for redemption through the Thunderbolts Initiative, where they can join forces with other forgotten Marvel villains, like Ghost,
We'll see.
like Agatha Harkness. Don't tell me you don't want to see Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Catherine
We
Hahn.
won't see
Hey,
Agatha.
look, folks, I know you gotta look at this dumb face in between all the Easter eggs and theories, which can be a little awkward, especially since I'm not really a skincare aficionado. I kind of associate that stuff with American
guys,
Psycho, or the people.
I'm not getting paid for his ad read, so we're skipping it.
This is one honoring the victims of the Battle of Sokovia and Age of Ultron, which includes Zemo's family. Actually, that lake behind it looks like one formed by the runoff from the upended terrain as the city was lifted.
Part of it, did I?
And Zemo's music
No.
from Civil War returns here.
I really love that melody.
Oh, actually, by the way, we have a new Zemo-inspired shirt design in our merch store, NewRockstarsMerch.com. It looks amazing, very cool design, and you can get your hands on it, again, NewRockstarsMerch.com. Now, this statue has a large Sokovian eagle on it, with a base showing Russian letters. That last word translates to Sokovia, I think. Now, interestingly, in the December trailer, this shot included a ton of flowers, notes, and flags at the base of the statue, and was not yet surrounded by a wall of names or have a paved surface. I get those other changes, but why remove the flowers? Well, perhaps the flowers were laid for more recent Sokovian victims of a global pandemic and whatever that removed virus subplot was. Now, they would have changed that before December, but maybe they didn't get around to updating this shot in particular yet. Now, Bucky holds himself to rule number 2 by not harming Zemo, handing him over to the Dora Milaje.
We will take him to the raft. where he will live out his days.
And I like how they come and go in that Wakandan Talon fighter that we saw in Black Panther. So Sam revisits Eli Bradley, future Young Avenger Patriot, and his grandfather Isaiah Bradley. He carries the shield once more in that art case that Steve had it in Endgame, a nod to his sketching hobby. Isaiah cites the Red Tails, the famous 332, referring to the 332nd Tuskegee Airmen who fought in World War II. But as the scene goes on, it is
George
a
Lucas made a
heartbreaking and
film about them,
challenging
right?
scene in which he shares more about his own tragic history.
A handful of us got shot up with different versions of that serum. They tell us it's tetanus.
So this episode gets its title, Truth, from the comic series Truth, Red, White, and Black, which explores Isaiah Bradley's erased history as the Black Captain America. And with this tetanus line, sounds like this show is referencing the horrific Tuskegee experiments, in which the government promised Black syphilis patients free healthcare, but actually just gave them placebos and let them die. Isaiah goes on to talk about his missions during World War II.
A couple of the boys get captured on a mission. I heard the brass talking about blowing the POW camp to hell to hide the evidence. And I brought them boys back.
Yeah, think about it. This mirrors Steve Rogers' rescue mission in that first Cap film when he freed hundreds of POWs that were written off as dead pretty much. But instead of the heroic greeting that Steve got, Isaiah was freaking tortured and imprisoned for 30 years. Isaiah talks about his eventual escape.
There was a nurse.
God, the
She took
scene
pity on me.
is so heartbreaking
Wrote up
still.
some fake reports, something. She had me declared dead.
Actually, we might have seen that fake death report for Isaiah Bradley in the end credit sequence. So Sam goes back to Louisiana, he helps fix the family boat with some help from Bucky, who brings new gear designed by the Wakandans. And we only get a tiny glimpse as Sam opens
Oh,
up
I
the
didn't
episode,
even
kind of
notice
like the mystery
that.
Pulp Fiction style.
Second.
I'm guessing we're going to see new vibranium wings and a color scheme and functionality that incorporate the shield so that Sam can feel comfortable carrying it without feeling like he has to live up to Cap. In fact, I think that could be the deeper meaning of this line.
Why didn't you use the metal arm?
Well, I don't always think of it immediately. I'm right-handed.
Yeah, the way Bucky doesn't have to think about his arm, Sam doesn't want to have to think about carrying the shield. So Sharon Carter gives a call to Batroc.
Oh, please, if it weren't for me, you'd still be rotting away in that Algerian prison. I can give you double this time.
Now, MT speaks a bit of French and was able to translate Batroc's rant as saying that he lost his team on the last mission and that he would never work for Sharon again. Hey, thanks, MT. But this confirms that Batroc's mission in episode 1 was, in fact, orchestrated by Sharon Carter and her criminal operation in Madripoor. Now, again, I would be surprised if Sharon is revealed to be the power broker herself, not just because of the pronouns, but because Zemo knew the power broker before he was imprisoned in Civil War, before Sharon broke bad. And really, Sharon seems like too much of a foot soldier for a godlike crime boss with spooky murals. Still, I do think she is part of a criminal organization, maybe working for the power broker, maybe trying to undermine him, and maybe she's sending Batroc in to help the Flag Smashers in their mission against the GRC so that Batroc can gain their trust and then lure them back to Sharon and the power broker. But check out this painting in her art collection. This is the Raft of the Medusa. It's a French romantic painting depicting the infamous wreckage of the French naval frigate Le Medusa.
Yeah.
Leave that to MT to get that right. This is a real ship in history that ran aground and then had a super incompetent captain that
Recognize
led the
that
crew to
painting.
starve and get super dehydrated and start eating each other. So with all the focus on it here, maybe Sharon actually has plans to
From
stage
art
a
history.
mutiny on her crime boss, the power broker, seeing him as a failure to run a tight ship in Madripoor. So Bucky wakes up to see AJ and Cass playing with the shield. I love that Bucky
This is
now
so
sleeps
cute.
on the couch instead of on the floor. Definitely a sign of improvement. And they play some catch.
Feels weird.
That's some terrifying
Back
ass
his words
catch
to
though.
Steve when he first picked up the shield in Endgame.
How does it feel?
Like it's someone else's.
Now notice when Sam catches the shield, he braces and recoils with its momentum, whereas Bucky just kind of catches it with a little recoil. Not only is Bucky stronger with his arm and the serum, but this shield is also an awkward fit for Sam still, with a heavier historical weight based off of the dark truths that Isaiah Bradley left him with. But then Bucky reveals,
When Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for the black man to be handed the shield.
yeah, this confirms that Bucky and Steve did talk over that shield succession off screen during Endgame. But also, interestingly, that old Cap remembered that plan throughout his entire alternate life before rejoining them. Bucky brings back up Steve's notebook, and Sam says,
Steve is gone. And this might be a surprise, but it doesn't matter what Steve thought.
So does gone mean dead, retired, returned to
On
another
the
timeline?
moon?
Or on the moon like Torres thinks? I mean, just show us a freaking headstone for the old man and leave the door open to younger Cap in the multiverse and we'll be done with it. Sam tells Bucky that he has to be of service to his victims. That's a true way to make amends, probably setting up Bucky to return to old Mr. Nakajima and tell him the truth about his son next episode. And then Sam's looking hot as he's working out with that shield.
All day, man.
All day
Uncle
could be a
Sam.
reference to Cap's catchphrase, I could do this all day. And his nephew's calling him Uncle Sam again reflects Sam's growing comfort with bearing these patriotic colors. Meanwhile, the Flag Smashers grow their forces in Tompkins Square Park in New York, somehow getting into the US despite being highly sought after terrorists, whatever. Batroc hooks them up with some weaponry and their new recruits disrupt a meeting with the GRC who are trying to vote on the Patch Act, which was told to us in a news report on WHIH. And presumably it'll be here in New York that all these warring parties will meet, including Sharon Carter, whom we see in promo footage, and John Walker with his new homemade shield. He actually hammers that together in this episode's post-credit scene.
This shield wouldn't hold up to anything that he would face, though.
Now, actually, another
is
big
another
MCU
thing that
title
kind of
ends
bothers
the
me
same
about
way,
the
with
whole
credits
thing.
that just go to black and you hear the clanging of a hammer. Avengers Endgame. These were, of course, a nod to Tony Stark hammering in the cave with the box of scraps in the first Iron Man.
With the box of scraps.
Reference to that as well in Walker's man cave. Now here, Walker melts down the Congressional Medal of Honor that we actually saw him holding this earlier, and he uses this to fuse together the metal of the shield. Now, while I doubt this shield is made of vibranium or anything stronger, by being made of the military metals, it does bear a deeper, more personal significance for Walker. We heard him repeat throughout this episode,
I am Captain America. I am Captain America.
and this man's gonna be Captain America in his own mind, even if he has to cosplay to do it. But my favorite detail of this final shot is once again hidden in his hands. As he spray paints that metal ring, he coats his thumb in a dark red, not at all caring about the blood red stains that he gets on his hands. And yes, this is our Anarchy assembled shirt, also available at
right, guys.
newrockstarsmerch.com.
We did it. First live reaction to this. I intended to do this before, but like last time we tried to do it, I mean, it never really came up before, but last time we tried to do it, it was just like the YouTube was having issues, so it didn't really work. Some great moments, man. First Iron Man still is my favorite MCU movie. I mean, I can't argue with that, man. It's a really solid one, sets the pace for everything. My favorite MCU film, personally, is Endgame, just because it's the most comic booky out of all of them. And like, even though it's technically a part 2 of a story, I still love it. I think that's the culmination of everything. It just means a lot more to me. But yeah, I mean, you can't understate how awesome Iron Man 1 is. What's up, Kaleidoscope? Shout out to India. Last I was in your stream was Injustice 2 game. It's been a while, man. I haven't seen you around for some time. I'm glad you popped back in. When Steve destroyed the punching bag in Avengers, how come Loki withstood his super soldier punch? Well, Loki's also, well, not a god, because he's not Asgardian, but he's a frost giant. He's an interdimensional being. He's not a normal human. He can handle impacts from Asgardians, from those types of beings, just because he is a heightened. He's not human. He's more than that. He is a frost giant. So it stands to reason he can easily tank a normal enhanced human's punch. But the Hulk, though, puny god. WandaVision had Mephisto's theories. Falcon and Winter Soldier have Power Broker. Have we not learned people? I mean, I wouldn't even say that the Power Broker thing is all that big a deal. In the end, it's not really going to break the universe to know who the Power Broker is. I don't think so, anyway. Like, for Mephisto's involvement, it's such a bigger reach. For Power Broker, I could care less who the Power Broker is, to be honest, so we'll see where it goes. Then there'll be 2 post-credit scenes. First is Sam going to meet up with Joaquin. He shows him a cosplay. Sam tells him what happened with Steve. We cut the second one, and we'll just see who... Rockstar Theory. Oh, just like the new Rockstars Theory. Yeah, I definitely, like I said earlier, I think what they said lines up with what I said too, if I remember correctly. I think it'll just be setting up the Thunderbolts or an associated team. I just didn't like how anyone could get into a suit and use it like a pro. Oh. Are you meaning like Rescue when Gwyneth Paltrow shows up in the rescue suit? Yeah, it's whatever. I don't care. My man. What's up, Tyler? How are you doing, man? Taking a break from your music? Come hang out? Let's see. Man. I was getting really sucked into that too. The wine probably didn't help, but I was just like, after a while, I was just like entranced by what was going on. I love the Iron Man movies. The first one's my favorite out of the Iron Man movies. Iron Man 3 is my least favorite of the 3 Iron Man movies. The only one that would break my top 5 or top 10 would be Iron Man 1. For me. If we're talking MCU films. So yeah. These shows though, these shows are movie quality and I love it. Love it. Thunderbolts, Masters of Evil, Dark Avengers. That is the timeline for Zemo's teams. Dark Avengers for John Ghost for Masters and more. Love the character development of Tony as a whole in the 3 movies, and I think that it was a great as a whole. Yeah, that I won't argue with, though there's some ways I would have done it that makes more sense to me. As well as he's got a lot of growth through his cameo appearances, too. I feel like there's more growth in his cameo appearances after Iron Man 2 than there really was in Iron Man 3. Anyway. Actually on my way to do a live stream concert. I just had to drop in and say, hey, what's up? Guys, check out Tyler and his music. Do it. I'm glad you could stop in, man. Hope Torres gets explored more if we ever get a season 2. I feel like the show, unlike WandaVision, will most likely get one. They've hinted at it. They've talked about possibly doing a Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2. So it's very possible we might get a little bit more. Saying the sequels allowed anyone to get into a suit and to use it like a pro. That's what I didn't like. Oh, Iron Man. Okay. So you meant like Pepper, Rhodey, pretty much everybody but Tony that just slided into one. Not to mention, shit, what was his name? I can't remember the guy's name. But Jeff Bridges, what was his character's name? Jedediah? Stained? Yeah, him just sliding in there, business guy, just sliding in and be able to use it. Yeah, it was a little weird. Songbird is coming. I wouldn't say how, but I won't say when. Sounds familiar. Why does that sound really familiar? Why does Songbird sound familiar to me? I feel like I'm the only one who loves Iron Man 3, but I think I might be because I don't read Marvel comics. I mean, I don't honestly even read Marvel comics. I mean, I've been pretty open about that. Obadiah Stane. That was it. Obadiah. I was like, Jedediah. Oh, man. I would love more Justin Hammer, though, man. Where's he been? What's he been doing? We haven't even seen any Hammer tech in a while, I feel like. Love your invincible reactions. Jaw drops every episode, too, man. They just keep knocking it out of the park of that. I've never heard of that comic either. So, like, I feel like I've been sleeping on that, man. It's so good. I'm glad I haven't read the comic because every episode's a fucking surprise. First 2 shows of a Phase 4 showing the same pattern. The protagonist has to prove himself worthy of the title, and the villain will have the power similar to the main protagonist. we'll see if that continues with Loki. We'll see where that goes. Part of the Masters and the Thunderbolts. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know who Songbird is. I recognize the name, but I can't think. I can't put the name to a face or a suit or a power. I imagine maybe I'm just going to spitball based on the name that they're like Black Canary and they scream. Supersonic scream. I don't know. That's going to be a guess. Is locked up and he could show up again. I should do more live reactions. I would love to do stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty fun because I can see your guys' initial reactions like right after the fact too. It's I mean, realistically, as a YouTuber, it's probably not the best thing because the live streams don't get nearly as many views as me posted as a separate video. And I still might crop this out and include it later, but like there was a lot of fun stuff in there, guys. Really dug it. So hanging out in the live streams, you're gonna have some fun. Yeah. So I don't know how I'm gonna edit this to post it as a video, but we're gonna figure it out. Do both. What if Just a Hammer returns in Armor Wars? I forgot Armor Wars was happening, man. I forgot about that. Armor Wars is going to be a really interesting one. I wonder how they're going to tackle that. How that's going to... Shut up, Sheena. Snipe is made up to 5 tons. Drinks blood up to 6 tons. How strong is Blade going to be in MCU? Because Snipes can... I mean, I don't know, man. It really depends how they go with it. Because also how late in the game he is. How long has he been Blade the Daywalker? How dark are they going to go with Blade? That's something I'm really excited to see. I just really like that universe, man. The Blade side of things. What's funny is I didn't even, when the first Blade movie came out, I didn't even put together that the movie was Marvel related. Even though you see the Marvel logo in the credits, I never noticed that as a kid. And I grew up watching the 90s Spider-Man show, which had Blade as a crossover character quite a few times. And I never put that together until I was like way older. Ooh, we got a super chat. Alexander Wilson. Julia Louis-Dreyfus character was supposed to be introduced in Black Widow. So before COVID, we were supposed to know her character. I forgot about that. Black Widow was supposed to already be out. You know, if you remember too, this was supposed to come out before WandaVision even. So I wonder if she's going to be in there. I wonder if we're going to see her in there. And Sheena and Mandy, you guys calm down. I got plenty of wine left. They said this was the last bit of my West Virginia wine. Shut up. We should do super chats and I take a shot. Maybe later. We will have a live stream later tonight. We only got 11 minutes. I have to call it quits so I can actually have dinner. I haven't eaten anything today yet except a Hot Pocket. And then I've just had all this. We never got the fixer for Iron Man. He also was part of the Thunderbolts as a fake hero, Techno. That's... Like I said, man, you could throw out all kinds of names from Marvel and I won't know. I'm more likely to know it if it's DC. If it's, I've said this before, but just in case you are new to the channel or any of the videos or anything like that, my Marvel knowledge pre anything that's in a movie is pretty much all from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon and the 90s X-Men cartoon. Outside of that, it's been the MCU, the Blade movies, the Fantastic Four movies, the Spider-Man movies, all of the live-action movies, and then from there, whatever I might have researched on my own by just Googling stuff and looking at the Marvel wiki pages. Aside from that, if they haven't been in any of that stuff, a lot of the stuff is just like secondhand knowledge and research. I can see a Dark Avengers, Abomination, which is coming back. Abomination's coming back. Justin Hammer, Agatha Harkness. I don't see Agatha being part of a team yet. Norman Osborn, Yelena Belova, White Vision, Venom, USA. I keep forgetting White Vision's out there, man. To be honest, Trick Shot, don't know who that is. They like Deadshot? Super excited for Black Widow. We need more hand-to-hand combat in the MCU. I'm down for that, man. I'm down for more John Wick style, and gritty action. That's one of the reasons I really like this show, because a lot of the stuff with Bucky and John and stuff like that, it's pretty cool seeing hand-to-hand fighting other than the pew-pew laser blasts. Which I'm a fan of pew-pew laser blasts, but sometimes I want to just see some intimate beating the shit up kind of stuff. Tonight's stream is going to be, the primary focus of tonight's stream is going to be playing the new Resident Evil Village demo. We're going to be playing that. We're going to be having some spooky times. And hopefully some big titty times. With the vampire lady. I'm going to get canceled. Anyway, I got Subway for breakfast. I'm going to get pizza for dinner. I don't even know what I'm going to have for dinner yet. Pizza might sound good. Pizza sounds kind of good right now. Fixer, the Maker. How many construction-based characters are there in the Marvel universe? Probably a lot more than you would think. Because you also have the Tinkerer, right? That's one of them too, right? Beetle from Spider-Man comics and the Thunderbolts. He is an A-Wing. That's cool. Cool. Again, don't know who that is. Should watch the 90s Incredible Hulk. The show? Like the live action show with Lou Ferrigno? Never watched it. Like, oh, shush. Your face. It's getting worse. Hulk cigar. Yeah, man. I grew up DC. So that's where a lot of my knowledge goes. And I still don't know everything DC. I've still only read a handful of comics. I could count the comics I've read on one hand. A lot of it comes from the animated shows. A lot of it comes from the animated movies. A lot of it comes from the live action stuff and all research. Because growing up in the age that I feel like we grow up in, reading comics and catching up with all this history of comics is just impossible. Or at least financially irresponsible to try to actually read it all for yourself. And I find more enjoyment reading about the comics than I do reading the comics themselves. And sometimes I miss out on small little details like that. Sometimes I miss out on small little bits, some amazing artwork. But, you know, eventually I'll find my way back to it. I'll be sleeping sadly. I won't be able to join the stream. Ah, Marcos, why? I get it, man. Don't worry. Get your sleep in. It's important. I know. I needed that 14 hours of sleep last night, man. Incredible Hulk cartoon I was talking about. There was a Hulk cartoon? There was an Iron Man cartoon? What? I only knew about the Spider-Man and X-Men cartoons in the 90s. Well, of course, the Batman and the animated series, which trumps them all, in my opinion. Wine. You should hit up Comics Explained to catch up on your comics. Might have to do that. Hun, don't give me the eye. Almost my midnight here. Yeah, everybody on the other side of the pond is it's getting late for you guys. You're 5 hours ahead of me. I mean, we got people in India in here too, so that's even, I'm gonna guesstimate probably another 10 hours ahead. So it's probably morning for you guys there, waking up. Sips becomes chugs. Better eat, prepare for those shots. It's almost midnight here. Should have the Comics Explained. Yeah, I'll probably check out Comics Explained, man. A lot of my time is like I've gone down a bunch of Marvel and DC wiki rabbit holes, kind of like with YouTube. Like I'll be like, oh, there's a hyperlink here for this character. Let's go read their fucking page. I've read so much of the DC and Marvel wikis, it's fucking insane. But I still can't remember all of it, so that's why it's like sometimes there's like bits and pieces that don't stick. Maybe if I actually read the comics, like it makes sense. The amount of comics I have is not a lot, but I have tons of research. People tell me lots of things like, yeah, man, that's us. I think that's the easiest way to do it. It's the most realistic way to do it. Go do it. Is that way. Because I have one of my best friends. He keeps up with all the Superman stuff, like every Superman comic. He is still currently reading every Superman comic. And I was like, I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you do it. Like I would have to stop the channel and just spend my time, my day reading to catch up on the comic book side of stuff. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to feed it to me. Have the MCU and Disney feed it to me, and I'll take it there. I'll learn about it after the fact. See what I need to do. Because if I go into it with all these preconceived like notions about everything, then I'm going to have these expectations, and then I'll end up being one of these other people who kind of have this idea of how these characters are supposed to be, have these ideas of what might be coming, what they might be setting up, and I'm just really going to be setting myself up for failure or disappointment. That's just always been my perspective. I'm the kind of guy, like, if we talk about like a book that's been adapted into a movie, I will watch the movie before I read the book. For two reasons. One, I'm lazy and I don't want to I'll let the movie tell me how the person's supposed to look. And then I go and I read the book with that person in mind. And then I see what the differences are. And I'm not disappointed by one or the other. I always see like what's on screen as supplemental knowledge to what came from the source material. Game of Thrones was the same way. Harry Potter was the same way for me. And that way I was never like going into the movie being like, why didn't they do this thing from the book? I never had that problem. I did it the other way around, and that way I enjoyed the movies and I enjoyed the books. Because the books in that way were different. They provided more than the movie, and I wasn't pissed off at either thing. And I feel like it's the same, it's becoming the same thing with the comics, with these shows, with these movies. People are like wanting it to be the comics, and it's just not, and it's never going to be. Woo! Oh, fuck me, man. Who was the person who got you into superheroes? For me, it was my grandpa. Honestly, I don't know. My parents just kind of sat me down in front of a TV and let things happen. My mom did a lot of the support for me. So, like, none of my family was really into any of this stuff. My dad was into sports, John Wayne, and banjo. My mom was a church pianist and a singer. That's pretty much it. Outside of that, it was just me, man. I grew up like, I was born in the late 80s, grew up the majority of my life, my forming years in the 90s, and that's pretty much it. I was just sat down in front of a TV while my mom was working. I mean, after a point, of course, she became a single mother, and a lot of the time was spent, I was watching TV, playing video games, and that's where I pretty much introduced all my other stuff. My mom was like, are kids into this? Here you go. I had like a Sonic comic book. The only comic books I ever owned when I was a kid was like this really dark, horrific Batman comic, which I can't remember the name of it. I just remember the cover in my head. A Sonic the Hedgehog comic and a Spider-Man comic. And it was pretty interesting. It's kind of funny how that whole thing was going. It was but yeah, I don't know. I think it was just like the TV, because I grew up right around the time when I hit like 5 years old, right when those shows started, 5, 6 years old. And so I hit right at the peak of Spider-Man the Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series, some of the great fucking TV, man. And yeah, that's really what started it. I mean, I watched the Batman 89 film with Michael Keaton when I was younger. I think that was the first exposure to superhero stuff that I ever remembered. My mom liked the Adam West stuff, so that probably helped. I mean, she wasn't like big into it, but like she was aware of it because she watched a lot of that sitcom TV back in the time. So that's another reason that I was really had a lot of nostalgia for WandaVision. It was like I grew up with my mom watching I Love Lucy, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, The Addams Family, The Munsters, all that shit. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, it is 7 o'clock. So we're going to take a break. I know a lot of you over on the other side of the coast are going to have to start getting ready for bed. How much have I drank? From here to here. That's it. Not a lot, But also remember, all I've had was that hot pocket, that hot pocket you made me earlier. So it's fine. It's fine. We're fine. If you guys are awake, if you guys are around, I'll be coming back in 2 hours and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be checking out the Resident Evil 8 Village demo. And yeah, checking it out, seeing how it is, seeing what it's like. Because I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm really looking forward to playing it. Resident Evil is probably one of the few series of games that I'm going to stop what I'm doing to actually play through. A lot of the time, I let time get away from me and stuff like that, and I don't get to play as many games as I would like to anymore. That, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Devil May Cry, and Halo are probably the games that will get me to stop, and Pokemon are the games that will get me to stop in my tracks and check it out. So we're going to be streaming the demo. It's not going to be a long one. It's not a long demo. I think it's only a 30-minute demo that we'll play later tonight. And we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you all for everybody who super chatted. Thank you everybody for tuning in and seeing me be a little sloshed for a minute. We'll see how things go tonight. And yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everybody.